But let's go parts of the pitch now. We started off with the big stories and the names that everybody knows, but let's go area by area. I think we're all agreed that the midfield is the area that needs most addressing, especially if, and again, this is one that people won't want to hear, and I think might be awfully likely, we lose McAllister in the summer again, because he's at that prime moment for him to make the switch to one of the big Spanish clubs, and I think they'd both want him. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the churn come summer. Is there a danger? Sorry, is there a hope that something might happen there in January? Are there? We've seen one comparatively high-profile player in a foreign league being mentioned and linked to Liverpool. Is it fanciful, do you think, this Ederson story?
Do you know what? I thought it was. And I got corrected quite quickly doing a bit of digging around this. And shout out to the GOAT, because Indy Kelly had dropped this, didn't he, a few nights ago on 1st December, saying Liverpool in January move. And I thought it was like a little bit of, well, there's a lot of talk, approaching January and blah, blah, blah. So doing a bit of digging on this, Liverpool are looking. Does it mean it will happen? No, but just to really be clear on this and what we found out, Ederson is set to leave Atalanta. He didn't sign a new deal. They know they want to sell him now. His agent's been quite vocal about it at the same time. So, even, the suggestion is Ederson's on the market for somewhere around the 28 million quid. Do your swap at Tesco for euros and stuff, but around the 28 million quid mark. So Liverpool look at that and go, okay, of his age, he's nearly 27 and all that. But we know we talk about opportunity. It's a player that, almost if you sign for 28 million, he's worth 50 million straight away, isn't it? You get him a knockdown price and it reinforces the squad. So Liverpool are looking at that. And it's not a DM everyone wanted, but it is a DM or, a player that can play in the six. So that's important to say. The second bit is, again, a player with not long to go left in his contract. And we mentioned him before in the show. Liverpool have been speaking to Bouaddi and his agents at Lille. Very much, a lot younger. It's more about potential. And just to go back to what we said before, Liverpool have looked at this like a bit like a Hato signing. Is he ready for right now? Probably not. But if we don't do it now for a knockdown fee, we'll be getting quoted 100 million in a few years type of thing where we do want him. So they're looking at that. So you've got that issue of Bouaddi's probably not ready. Ederson, there's a lot of clubs like Ederson because of his knockdown fee and other Premier League clubs, so that makes it difficult. So Liverpool will never overpay, but they are aware of these two. The big issue at the moment for Liverpool is, digging on this, non-homegrown stars and their lack of space on non-homegrown stars. And you mentioned a few at the same time as well. I can't help thinking that if you say to Arne Slot, Wataru Endo, he'll be like, is that the guy that plays Mighty Red in their mascot outfit at the weekend? He will have no idea who he is, basically. Probably just thinks, in the cleaners. I don't know. But obviously, not playing him at all. It's making it clear. So, Liverpool, are looking at that. Endo, but being told that Endo is one to keep an eye on. That's the info we've got, as you know. If Liverpool could ship it out, that makes Ederson really viable. Chiesa keeps getting mentioned, but the thing is, Chiesa's coming on and saving his bacon at centre-back, isn't he? Clearing it off the line in the last minute type of thing. But even with all this, you absolutely know that he is not going to get any run in this team. And that's even with Cody Gakpo coming off at half-time and all that. Chiesa's not getting a run. So the info we're getting is Ederson, possible. Bouaddi, possible. Likely, too strong. If you ship one of Endo or Chiesa out, get your eyes on it and get your eyes on it fast.
I think it's Jennifer in the chat. Let me just double check. Yeah, Jennifer Ball in the chat saying something that I said in the show yesterday in Raw. I think the most damning aspect for the current part of the Slot tenure is the absence of Endo and Chiesa from the squad, from the team, when so many have so little fight, so little old-fashioned desire to win second balls. You were witness to it in the last few home games, and it's been one of the most appalling aspects.
Yeah.
Okay, so we both agree the football is boring at the moment. The team is boring.
Yeah.
The sideways shuffle stuff. Yeah, that's one thing. But the thing that sticks in your craw is the lack of perceived lack of effort. Maybe these guys think they're killing themselves. They are not. And you saw, and you went, I heard you mention on at least 3 different shows, because you were traumatized by watching lads shit out of tackles, right? We won't even mention their names. But how in the name of all that's holy do you have Federico Chiesa there and not play him? How does he not start when Mo Salah's out? It's absolutely daft stuff. And Endo can't be bad enough that he's worse than some of the half-arsed midfield efforts that we've seen from Gravenberch this year. So I can't have it. I don't understand. It's something that's really sticking in my craw, you know? You've got something here for us.
I mean, look at it. If anything is almost more damning right now of the Arne Slot era, he's relying on a player clearing the ball off the line against Sunderland, a newly promoted team at home, that he doesn't want in the squad. He doesn't want to play. But as that, as that tweet got put out from the AI account, players who give a shit, he'd give you everything. I think that's why a lot of people want him there as well. Not just the boon of the song, but a player that will run. And there was that great tweet as well. Did you see it? And apologies to all females, but it's a funny tweet. I don't care. Someone put out that women go through periods, pregnancy, and all this. What do men go through? And someone quote tweeted it with Gakpo cutting inside, which I thought was a brilliant, absolutely spot on line as well. But yeah, how apt that Arne Slot, it's sad to say, would get rid of Federico Chiesa in a heartbeat. He's not someone he considers as a real option, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And the second area that definitely needs a little bit of help, even though Joe Gomez has come in to the defense. We were told Joe couldn't play it right back because Joe is the backup centre back and you have to have him fit, because if he wasn't fit, then he couldn't be the backup, even though the 2 guys are fit at centre back. Circular, weird logic that made no sense to any of us who were just looking to see the whole team improved without this daft sort of extra layer of impregnable, like I say, circular logic going on. But we do have a situation where there are a couple of very, very desirable talents available at the centre back spot. Lads who might be gettable now in January. The names that you've put out before were Xhaka and Ordonez. You also mentioned Van Hecke. Are any of those currently realistic links, in your opinion?
Liverpool are having a proper look at these. Yeah, absolutely. And again, we said all these before, and we've done transfer market metrics from previews on them. In terms of the young centre-half profile, Liverpool looked at all the options when they had the pick in the summer, and they plumped for Leone, like top scorer in all their metrics. This is the kid. And it's always one of the saddest parts this season. I know it was only a Carabao game, but how good did the kid look just in terms of his basic and what you think he could be? But he was head and shoulders above younger centre-halves, and that's why they plumped for him. That's why they went for him. But as we mentioned, they looked at Jeremy Xhaka at Rennes. We told you this in the summer. Ordonez at Bruges, a few others as well, but they've continued looking at those. And we said this, you've had, media matter shows, journalists have confirmed it as well. Liverpool have had scouts. Now, scouting, as we know, doesn't mean anything's imminent or going to happen, but they're having a good look at Xhaka and Ordonez. And it's important to say, because they are different profiles of centre-halves, they've had a really good 6 months, those two. They're really shining out. And especially Xhaka is on the radar of a lot of Europe's elite, a lot of Europe's top clubs. So that comes into the mix as well. In terms of the others, I mean, we said Van Hecke, didn't we? We said they were looking at him. I know he's not a favourite for a lot of people, but progression, that's the element they like. And he's been very mixed, let's call it that, for Brighton this season, but they've looked at him. Diamande, we said that as well, didn't we, in the summer? And it's coming, it's almost like Liverpool are revisiting their homework a little bit, aren't they? Because, it's going to be similar targets and they continue to watch those targets a little bit. But the genuine info we're getting on this is if there's a position most likely, it's centre-back. And I think that's pretty obvious. As much as everyone goes, well, DM's my priority. Right, just put that aside. How many fit centre-backs have Liverpool got? Leone's out. Joe Gomez is being used at right-back, and we know what his injury record's like. Konate's having an unprecedented run, and we don't really need to talk about his contract agreement at the moment or not. And Virgil van Dijk. So it's the position Liverpool are shortest in the pitch, a player that can cover that position. So it is the priority, we're being told, if anything does happen. Liverpool are looking at these options. I know others will say, what about Schlotterbeck and all this? Again, a lot of these targets are not going to move in World Cup year, aren't they? That's going to be a summer one if it's going to happen. But Liverpool are very much aware and keeping an eye on the centre-back options, aside from Mark Guéhi. And we get asked this, and it's always right when you ask me, if we had to bet based on the info we're getting, if there's anyone coming in, a centre-back is most likely at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. Because it was a glaring omission from the summer window, which in reflection isn't maybe the genius thing that we thought it was. So that's centre half, and we need to look at right back, because we had a situation there where our two nominal right backs were injured. They continue to be, but we're expecting Bradley back, I think, in the squad for Leeds. Frimpong a little bit further off still. And people will have very valid questions as to whether either of those two guys is the answer at right back, and whether or not you would absolutely, given the situation we're in, continue as long as he can play with Joe Gomez in the bigger games, because he's a proven talent at Premier League level who can do a job in a more traditional defensive way and can slide across and form a bigger barrier than either of the other two boys can. Now, Frimpong and Connor have their obvious talents going forward that Joe doesn't have. But the first priority of a defender is defense, and we keep conceding goals, Dave. So I don't see that to me, it's a no-brainer. There must be a defensive recruitment if we have ambitions to do things this season still. I don't know whether we do or not. I assume we do, but it's hard to see it on the pitch. I mean, right back, let's talk about it. Is there any name out there? Because the one you've mentioned here in our notes is, unless I'm mistaken, one we were linked with in the past.
Yeah, the info we're getting, again, digging, is Liverpool are revisiting their homework a little bit. And when we say that, it's not designed to be flippant. They obviously watch players for a while, don't they? And then they'll say, they make the step and the option, and they can always revisit. I mean, it's looking disastrous, the right-back situation. Like, look at Jeremy Frimpong's injury record at Liverpool now compared to Leverkusen. Connor Bradley just can't keep fit, and his suitability is different bits are an argument, but he just can't stay fit. Digging on this is annoying me a little bit, as you know, because Liverpool have had scouts or been watching again, specifically, I'm probably butchering the names here, but forgive me on this, Martin Fernandez, the Porto right back, and that's a player they looked at before, as we talked about hard, and the other one who's also really kicked on a level, it's important to say, and there's a lot of big clubs looking at this kid, Jiviro Reed. I think that's how he pronounced his first name, at Feyenoord, the young right back. The big thing they were aware was with Reed is stats are kicking up a level. It looks like everything's, how would you put it? The data's tracking in the right direction, as they call it. Everything's looking good. They also know with this kid, this is a kid that would plump for Liverpool right now if they were to do it. If you're not in the Champions League in January, this kid's got Champions League teams knocking at his door. Have no doubts in the summer that would happen. So that comes into the mix. The only bit that's annoying me, and this is my annoying bit of the whole tonight, people, these are in the targets, but two of our best sources, as you know, Trev, have told us this. This isn't the top name, but the bastards won't give us the top name, which is annoying me insanely amount, that Reed and Fernandez are being looked, but they're both adamant this is definitely not the top name, but no one will answer who is the top name. So again, Liverpool are looking at right backs. We've just got to temper all this, because I get excited when I hear this, that yes, we need a centre-back. I'd love a Jack A, a physical beast, brilliant. Yes, I'd love Reed, and change it all like that. But again, it comes down to it's January, an opportunity. So Liverpool are looking. It doesn't mean it's definite, but Reed, Fernandes, and the bastard unknown top target are ones that they're keeping their eyes on.
The top target is Trent. We'll start the wrap up process because we have only a couple of minutes left. We were going to talk about Wharton, Anderson, Baliba, and all those guys that are being tracked by other clubs. I think it'll just annoy us to do that. So let's just finish with the contract talks and get your take on that. Obviously, Konate's up there, one of the ones that's most high profile. Apparently, Gravenberch's up for a contract as well. Szoboszlai, we know, is. Robbo, what happens there? I think he's one of the ones that moves on, along with Ali, along with Mo, and I think also Maka, who's also up for a contract. Talk to us about the contract situation just to wrap us up here. I'll let you watch the clock as we come towards 8. I don't know if you want to get out hard. I'll leave you decide.
Even as you said, contract, still the same line, isn't it? With Konate, Liverpool still trying, whether to say, that Real Madrid have pulled out because they're not interested anymore. So, I mean, how long that's going to go on for, I don't know. We're all getting tired of the Konate saga. There are no active talks right now, is our info, for Andy Robbo or Alexis McAllister. But there are active, at least initial discussions for Gravenberch, and they've moved ahead because they want to get, quite rightly, Dominic Szoboszlai tied down as fast as they possibly can. So no active talks for Maka or Robbo, but active talks for Grav and Szoboszlai, which they're trying to get done.
And as usual, Dave's drawn a nice line under it. Lots of info for you there. Not as specific as we'd like, but we can only bring you what we can bring you, and we do our best. And Dave always does great work to source as much good stuff as we can. Look, we're going to be back next week because it's that time of the year. So looking forward to it. Thanks for commenting in the chat. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again soon.